West Virginia football coach Neal Brown with us, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke on 365 Sports. What is your thought, by the way, thank you for being here, of just college football with so many moving parts? It's like every time you turn around, something changes or adds, and it does seem to be a constant flow.
Yeah, the only constant is change. And for all the changes, the product on the field has continued to grow, and it's probably the number one spectator sport in all of athletics. And the level of play has probably never been higher, but there's probably never been more chaos, off the field.
Okay, when you looked at the first 5 weeks of your schedule,
yeah, not good.
Did you immediately I'm going to need a lot of Tylenol?
No, well, I've known what our out-of-conference schedule was going to be for a long time. And, Penn State won the Rose Bowl, and we open up in Happy Valley against those guys, a nationally televised game. Pitt is a rivalry game, probably the biggest rivalry we have within West Virginia football. And then we open up with Tech, and Joy did a great job in year one, and they handed it to us out in Lubbock last year, probably the worst game we played, without a doubt the worst game we played all year. And then we have TCU, by the way, played the national championship game. So, yeah, we're not easing into this at all.
No.
Is it probably – I was thinking about this the other day, though, looking at it. It's got to be the most exciting schedule in a way, too, just because of the rivalry with Pitt and, great game last year, reigniting Penn State. And then you've got these Big 12 games, especially with the two that you mentioned right at the top. So, I mean, you get your money's worth if you buy season tickets because you're going to see a lot of great opponents or you follow the team throughout the year.
Well, and we have 3 of those first 5 at home. And so that's a benefit, too. Morgantown's a tough place to come to. You guys know that. It's a tough – we've performed really well at home, have one of the highest winning percentages in all of college football in Morgantown. And so we get 3 of those at home. We have 2 right out the bat. We play a nationally televised game, 7:30 game at Penn State, and then our Pitt game is 7:30. We go on NBC. We kick off their college football Big Ten coverage on NBC. We're the ABC primetime game week 3. So there are challenges, but there's great opportunities there too, as we've got a chance to really put ourselves out there in front of a lot of people to really make a name for ourselves and tell them why we're going to be better early in the year.
How much, besides the obvious wins and losses, how important would success in front of those type of audiences mean to you, your program, and also the future?
Well, the thing about it, program-wise, we've been really close, all right, as far as getting over the hump. We've had it last year against Pitt. We're up late in the third quarter, and we turn the ball over, and it turns into a touchdown, and we lose a game. We had a pass that could have been 50-50, whether it was a catch or not, that would have had us first and goal inside the 5. And so we played well in that game, and we thought we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot. And so that was a game that could have got us over the hump. In 21 we played we were the ABC game of the week versus Oklahoma. And we're driving to win the game. We have a snap that goes over our quarterback's head. They kick a walk-off field goal. And so we've been in those opportunities in those nationally televised games with a chance to really get over the hump and get a signature win and kind of get it rolling in the right direction. And for whatever reason, we haven't been able to get that done. And so we have more opportunities, and we got to eventually take advantage of that.
Do you have the analytics or the data or how you self-scout yourself on why you haven't been able to get it done? Is that?
Yeah, well, the analytics, it's pretty clear when you turn the ball over.
Sure.
That's the number one. If you look at turnover margin, the team that has won the turnover margin has won 80% of the games in the Big 12. So that doesn't guarantee you if you win it doesn't guarantee you victory, but it gives you a pretty good start. You know what I mean? Gives you a pretty good start.
Coach, you have a new athletic director in Ren Baker, a guy that we know really well from his time in Texas. And what's it like early on with him? Always getting a new leader of the athletic department is a transition period for any coach, but so far with Ren Baker.
Well, he's been more busy with basketball here lately. So,
yeah.
But
good point.
But he's a good guy, really good guy. I've known him from afar. We played North Texas in a bowl game when I was head coach at Troy in 2017. And I thought he did a tremendous job with that entire athletic program. And he was really close with our AD at Troy, Jeremy McClain. And so personally I really like him. I think he's done a good job coming in. He's had a lot on his plate. It's been a tough initial 7-8 months for him, but I think he's handled with class. And I'm looking forward to it. He's here today. I'm really excited about his leadership within our athletic department.
We got to make sure we say hi to him. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good, great friend of the show. Yeah.
I want to ask about your schedule too. Is there a little something to having a Cincinnati on there? Is it something even I don't know, UCF's not like a traditional rival, but at least somebody on the East Coast, and it's still far away. I mean, West Virginia's not like Georgia, but is there at least a little something to those games as well?
It's good to have a couple Eastern time zone teams. Now Cincinnati, that's the opponent. That's the new league member that our fan base is most excited about, reasonably so, because that's a drivable game. You're talking about 4.5 hours between Morgantown and Cincinnati. And so that's a game that our fans can travel to, and their fans can travel to when they play in Morgantown this year. And then Central Florida, we recruit a lot in the state of Florida. Some of the best players in our school's history have came from Florida, so that gives us a little bit more of a influence in that state recruiting-wise.
Well, and is Cincinnati then right now, besides Pitt, but is Cincinnati, is that going to be your conference rival? Will that just like morph into itself?
Well, I think you have to have the contest first.
Sure.
There's some recent history being in the Big East together, and they had some great games there. But I think we have to play the games. I don't think you just go, I think that's going to be my rival because geographically it makes sense. There has to be some points that really draw each fan base in and said, okay, we got to beat them. And we haven't had that yet. And so, but I think that makes the most sense if you're going to predict, that makes the most sense for that to be a game.
Neal Brown, head football coach at West Virginia, with us on 365 Sports.
You've got new quarterbacks. I mean, I guess new is kind of a relative thing. I mean, Garrett played last year a little bit, and then now you've got Nico in there. How do you feel about that position as you move forward into the season?
A lot of confidence. I think if you go back to last year, Garrett comes in and plays all but 2 series in the Oklahoma game, and that's a win that was huge for us. He starts Kansas State up and down, but had some real bright spots there as well. We're still eventual league champion. And then he starts the Oklahoma State game, gets us a lead, gets hurt. Nico comes in and finishes in the second half. In his first real meaningful action, did a good job. And we felt confident in those guys. We didn't even entertain anybody in the portal. Those guys continually get better. They've got good leadership skills. They both are dual threat guys that can really run, and they can make all the throws. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this competition into fall camp, and I think it'll be really clear who the winner is. I say this about quarterback competitions all the time. It's never me like deciding, I think that guy's going to be the winner. No, it's really usually pretty clear that somebody goes out and wins the job.
I was super impressed, as a lot of people were, by C.J. Donaldson before he got hurt. I know you lose Tony to the transfer portal, but just what's the kind of level of confidence of C.J.? How's he doing health-wise and all those types of things?
He's healthy. He practiced every day in the spring. He's done all the workouts. I really think he's on the cusp of doing something big. He's 240 pounds. He's unique.
He's a freshman last year.
He can run. And people forget, we're ahead of TCU in the third quarter when he breaks his ankle. And he'd already ran for over 100 yards in the third quarter. And so is that game different? Yeah, I think so. And then he doesn't play for the rest of the season. And he's really talented. We also got depth in that room. Jalen Anderson ran for over 100 yards versus Oklahoma State. Justin Johnson had a really good yards per carry last year. We've got a freshman in Jaheim White that was there in the spring that I think is dynamic. So we've got depth in that room as well.
Is C.J. Donaldson, do you have to register him with a DMV at 240? Like he needs a license plate and a sticker?
Yeah. He's a hard tackle. He's a hard tackle, and he's got really good change of direction, and he's got contact balance. And I think – and I'm looking forward for him and I have an opportunity against really good opponents early in the year to kind of show up on the national scene.
When you've had these close games and you go back to the turnover ratio and the 80% and whatever else, how frustrating can that be?
Oh, it's frustrating. Yeah, I think anytime you lose, and if you lose close games, even more so. But you got to learn from it, right? You try to learn from it where you're not repeating the same mistakes. And we've got a really good picture after being in this league for the last 4 years what success looks like, and now we got to go out and execute and make it happen.
So you've already got a quote that's been making the rounds as far as your placement in the preseason poll, and you made a great point about, well, the media's not really been that great about it. Baylor voted to finish first last year, and they, go 6-7. So I appreciated that comment and kind of just the being real about it. But, I mean, do you feel like you're just being kind of brushed aside? And there's 4 schools coming in that, have little to no experience.
If you look over there at our logo, they got the wrong Big 12 logo up for us.
Do they?
Yeah, so like they got Texas orange over there instead of the correct watermark for behind West Virginia. What does that tell you?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you
so,
were right.
Yeah, so like I think that is. I think it's a valid point, and I think it's just an uneducated. And what happens is we're kind of we're by ourselves out on the East Coast for a long time. Now we have a couple other ones, but most of that media is Texas based, and there's going to be bias where like
Right.
you guys are going to know those programs in Texas better. That's fair. It's not, but the other thing too is the Big 12 media has not done a very good job predicting, and so it's
I'm raising my hand. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the league's really deep too.
Yeah.
You know, there's a ton of depth within the league, and so I think I can make a really strong argument why we shouldn't be there, and more importantly, is our players don't believe we should be there. So now it's about us going out and proving them wrong.
Good luck doing that. Appreciate that.
Thanks,
Neal
guys.
Brown, thank you very much. Head football coach at West Virginia with us on 365 Sports.